It's the Wood County District Public Library Ukulele Club. It's the Wood County District Public Library Ukulele Club. Come on along, play your ukes with me. It's the Ukulele Club. Hey everybody, Sherry's back. I'm just going to tune in over here on my computer so I can add some comments in a minute.
Oh, I thought you were going to say you were to tune, and I was thinking, no, that's me, and
No.
I have to tune.
No. Hey, there we are. We look great. So it's Jason again and Sherry, and for clarity, now that nobody else is in the room except us as members of the same household, I'm going to take my mask down and welcome back to the Wood County District Public Library Ukulele Club, just like the song says. It's this is big times. It's Library Week. It's the American Library Association's National Library Week this week. If you've been following other stuff on our Facebook page, you'll know there's all kinds of things going on. It's also National Poetry Month, and so we have some librarians and library staff reading some of their favorite poems, reciting some of their favorite poems on the Facebook page and the website. We've got stuff going on live and in person. We've got our curbside service that we've had going for almost a year now, and also express service during, on Mondays it's from 11 to 7, and on Tuesday through Saturday it's 11 to 4, I believe. Don't quote me on that. When you can come to the library with your mask worn appropriately, and get stuff in person in the library building. It's also this week the first anniversary of the Online Ukulele Club. We started April 6th of 2020, which is a year ago tomorrow. So today is literally the end of our first year doing this live streaming ukulele thing. We started out in our basement, and
That's our basement, not the library.
Our personal
could have been
basement.
in the library basement.
Who knows? It was an undisclosed location at first.
Yes.
And now, in celebration, and as we move on into the future, there will be no live stream next month for the Ukulele Club in May. But in June, July, and August, we'll be out on the Carter House porch. And you can come, go find details on the library website. Check the library Facebook page. WCDPL.org is the starting point for finding out all kinds of things on our website, including details about how to sign up for our summer ukulele club programs at the Carter House. It's been a big year. It's always good to make music, especially during hard times, especially during difficult times of struggle. And one of the best ways to make music is with a ukulele. Even when you can't sing together because it's not safe, you can always play a ukulele. They are portable, they're inexpensive, and it's surprisingly easy to play music that sounds great on a ukulele. A recurring theme of these ukulele club sessions is that it's often easier to play something that sounds fancy on a ukulele than it is to play something that sounds simple. So whether you're an advanced ukulele player, whether you have experience with other instruments, or whether you're a beginner, or whether you don't even have a ukulele with you right now, we hope you'll stay with us for this half hour and consider joining us this summer on the porch. Make some music together, and maybe learn something new. So we started with our theme song, as usual, and yet it was a little bit different. Instead of the key of G major, basically G major, blues songs aren't exactly in major or minor keys, but we usually start with a G chord and use some C and D chords along the way. This time we started on E minor. Wood County District Public Library, Ukulele Club. Then we went to A minor 7, which is that open chord, same as C6. Wood County District Public Library, back to E minor. Ukulele Club, and then B7. Come on along and play your ukes with me. It's the Ukulele Club. So the great thing about the key of E minor on a ukulele, as you may recall, if you've been with us before, there's a lot of really easy ways to play two different chords with the same finger, just moving from one string to the next, or the same two fingers, moving from one string to the next. Well, with E minor, you can put 3 fingers down in a diagonal line. Start on the 2nd fret of string 1, then the 3rd fret, and then the 4th fret. And you've got a nice, lovely E minor chord, and then you just move that over one string, and magically you've got a B7 chord. So there are songs that you could probably play with just those 2 chords, the E minor and the B7, but if you add this open one, this is sometimes called a C6 chord, it's sometimes called an A minor 7 chord. It's the same notes, just contextualized and conceptualized differently depending on where you're coming from and where you're going to. So if you want to play songs in the key of E minor, this is a great way to do it. And we're going to talk more about the key of E minor a little bit later. You can find out more about, if you're getting a little overwhelmed, you can find out more basic stuff. As see us play, not necessarily all basic stuff, but see us demonstrate some other stuff and explain some other stuff about ukuleles in our Uke Club Shorts video series, which you can find on the library website. And if ever you have questions, you can contact us at our band website. I'm going to add both of those links to the comments right now while Sherry talks to you about C, F, and G chords.
Okay. And I was serious about the tuning crack I made at the beginning. I was serious about because I was noticing that maybe my ukulele is not in tune. So I'm going to quickly check that. Sometimes you check it by tuning to a definite pitch. You get a pitch pipe and it'll go beep, and then you try to match that pitch. But if you're playing with somebody else, then the thing to do is make sure that your 2 ukuleles are in tune. So that whatever reality is like outside your 4 walls, inside your 4 walls, you're still making harmony and it still sounds good. So I'm going to ask Jason to hit any string on your ukulele, if you would, just so I have a...
This is my A.
Okay, so now that I have that, which sounds pretty good to me, that's the string I was worried about actually during the intro thing. But I'm going to put my finger on the 2nd fret of the 4th string here, and and play this A still again open, and play this 2nd fret on the 4th string. And those should sound like the same pitch. I'm hearing a little bit of a wah 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 rhythm. So since I already established that this one is good, I'm gonna change my G string here just a tiny bit. Ooh, I made it worse.
Whoa.
Hear that?
Amazing.
Sounds kind of what we call a shimmer. So I'm going to turn it down a little bit. There we go. Now if I hit them again, they sound beautiful, don't they? They sound like the same string. You can't even tell if I'm hitting 1 or 2 of them. So now I'm going to just to check the rest of the strings, I'm going to go with the 5th fret on the 2nd string. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And try to match that to my 1st string open. That sounds still pretty good to me. I think if I'm being super picky, I might adjust that a tiny bit. But it's pretty good.
But I'm here too. So we've got 4 different versions of that note right now,
Yeah.
and they're all pretty close.
And then just as a final check, I need to check this 3rd string here. So I'm going to put my finger on the 3rd fret of the 1st string here and make a C. And compare that with that open. that sounds pretty good to me. I'm going to tweak it just a little bit because I'm super picky today. And my check for if I'm in tune personally is to put my finger on the first 2 strings at the 3rd fret. So I get all C's and G's, and I hear this. And if that rings the way I want it to, then I'm good. And you can be as picky as you want. So now I'm ready to play. I feel a little bit better about things. I've made sure that my ukulele is tuned to my satisfaction.
So people usually tell you to start with the C, F, and G chords and play songs in the key of C, which on the ukulele isn't really the easiest way to start, so it's not usually where we start at the very beginning. But here we are. Here's one way to play those chords that I learned from Sherry a couple months ago that I think is fantastic. I start with my index finger on the 3rd fret of the 1st string. That's a C chord. And then we add a couple of fingers on the next 2 strings at the 5th fret. And that gives us an F chord with an extra note in it, which is kind of cool. And then just slide that whole mess up 2 strings, and that gives us a G chord. So once you've done that, you've started with an easy 1-finger C chord, you've added a couple fingers to make a fancy sounding F chord without a lot of trouble, and then you slide up, and then look, you're way up there, you're halfway up the neck now.
Look at you go, look at you, baby.
You look like a rock star playing this, and it's not that hard. If it's your first time trying it or first couple of times trying it, it's not easy at first, but it's not that hard.
The thing that you will, okay, so I always recommend not going like this and looking at your fingers because it will, people with ukulele, they often twist their ukulele up like this so that they can look down at their hand. And when you twist your ukulele like this, it's very painful to your wrist and it often muffles your strings. But if you were looking at your hand when it's making this chord, you would notice that your ring finger and your middle finger are not exactly right smack on top of each other. So this is not a beautiful 90-degree kind of thing you've got going on. So you're going to find that your middle finger is a little closer to the top of the ukulele and your ring finger is a little closer to this part, but they're all nestled right in there on that 5th between these 2 frets here.
And this is the magic of frets, is that what's really stopping the string is that fret. It's that strip of fret wire that's really stopping the string. It's not your finger that's stopping it. Your finger is just allowing the string to press against the fret. And that's what's making the note for you. The principle of the lever.
So when you're feeling with your fingers, you get used to how your hand feels in this position. And so when I'm thinking about what my hand feels like, I'm feeling with the one side of my middle finger, I'm feeling a fret. And with the other side of my ring finger, I'm feeling a fret. So they're in there, and I can kind of tell where they are because I can kind of feel with the sides of my fingers, which means that nobody has to do this and make a neck problem, and no one has to do this and make a wrist problem. Just trust your hand to know where it is, and if it sounds wrong, then you can just wiggle your hand around until it's right. And then eventually you're going to take your little hand and shake it out and drop it down because you're going to get tense. It's going to make you tired. You don't want that. You want to be relaxed.
And also, your hand is your hand. So Sherry is going to feel the frets with her fingers a little differently than I do because my fingers are fatter and they have to squinch in against each other a little more to fit in between the frets.
So yeah, so if your fingers are squinched in and it sounds good, then it sounds good. So if you feel a fret under your finger, it's not necessarily a bad thing. Listen to what it sounds like and then squinch around. Squinch around is the technical term for this. Squinch. Okay.
So this is the way, we're going to vamp for a while on C, F, and G, and this is the way I'm going to do it. I'm going to start with this easy C chord, add 2 fingers for a pretty easy fancy F chord, and then slide up for the pretty easy G chord. and then slide back down, and then let go of everything except the index finger. So there, I'm back on C. So I'm C, add 2 fingers, F, slide up, G, slide down, F, 1 finger, C. That's the way I'm going to do it, because that, for me, as a beginner to intermediate ukulele player, that's the easiest way for me to play those 3 chords in that order. Of course, if you are a more advanced player, Sherry has some other suggestions.
So do you want me to show them the octaves thing first? Or?
How about you show them the open position chords first?
Okay.
Because for most people, if you're looking at a beginner book on how to play the ukulele, they're going to show you these fingerings first, which are not actually the easiest ones.
They're not.
So it's important, I think, to be aware. These are basic in a certain sense, but also they're not super easy.
Yeah, I think that conceptually they're easier because you've got you're saying within the first 3 frets here, but physiologically they're a little bit harder. And I think probably
you got to squinch your hand around more.
You got to squinch. There's more squinching, kind of the uber squinch. Well, no, it's not the uber squinch. The D chord is the uber squinch. These are minor squinches, but they're still squinches.
So show us those.
Okay. So I'm going to start with instead of starting with my index finger on this string like Jason's going to do, I'm going to start with my ring finger. And just get used to doing that because your ring finger is a good finger and he deserves some workout too. So I'm going to play the C chord with my ring finger. And my other 2 fingers are going, what can I do? What can I do? I'm like, oh, well, I'm playing the C chord. What I want you 2 guys to do is get ready to jump into position to play the F chord with the index finger on the 1st fret of the 2nd string and my middle finger on the 2nd fret of the 4th string. So I get this sound. These 2 outside strings are the same. And then I've got a lot of choices. You want me to do the hoppy up with the middle finger?
Sure, you might as well.
Okay. So then we've talked about going to the G7, so that's maybe old news. So when I've got my F chord here, I'm going to pay attention to my middle finger. It's always important to pay attention to one finger so you have an anchor. So I'm going to pick up my middle finger first. And I'm going to I'm just going to move him up 1 string. So he's on the 2nd fret of the 3rd string. So I'm going from this F chord. And I'm picking up my middle finger and putting him on the 2nd fret of the 3rd string to get that low note, D. And then I'm going to take my hand, this is my pivot now, I'm going to just pivot my hand around a little bit and put my other 2 fingers down.
Oops, I did that wrong. I always do that wrong. I'm trying to hold my ukulele up to closer to the camera to demonstrate what you're doing, but I'm not as good at it as you are, and it's an awkward position.
So I'm on my F chord. I'm moving my middle finger up to this note here on the 2nd fret. Then I'm pivoting my hand around so I get the 2nd fret on the 1st string and the 3rd fret on the 2nd string. So it's like this, it's F, and I get the string by hit my 3rd string, and then I'm going to strum it. And then
I got it that time.
Good job. And then I have 2 choices. I can just slide my index finger up back to the C, which doesn't really put me where I want to be, but it's easy. Or I can jump my ring finger from the 3rd fret of the 2nd string to the 3rd fret of the 1st string, which puts me right back. And I think sort of aesthetically, I prefer that because I'm doing this hoppy thing with my middle finger. Hop. And I'm going to hop with my ring finger.
So I'm going to suggest, because I'm not getting any better at demonstrating this, so if you just rotate like 45 degrees, then you can show everybody on your neck how you're doing that.
Do you want me to hold it up or anything?
No, you don't really need to hold it up. Just maybe rotate a little smidge more. Okay.
I'll try to make big, awkward movements.
Yeah.
So they're easier to see.
And I'll watch you on this screen. Yeah, you look great. Okay.
Okay, good. So I would never do this with my fingers flailed out like this, because that causes lunging.
Yeah. Ugh.
Finger lunges. But I'm going to do a little bit of that so that you can kind of see where I'm lunging to, or where I'm going to if I weren't lunging. Okay. So we playing together, or am I just doing this?
You're just doing this.
Okay. I'm going 4 counts of each. Here I go. 1, 2, 3. I'm getting ready. Here I go to F. Now I'm getting ready to jump with my middle finger. Don't worry about the right hand. Okay, I'm playing my C chord, but only my ring finger. My other 2 fingers are ready. Down they go. My middle finger is getting ready. He makes the jump. My ring finger makes the jump. Here we go on my C.
The easy way.
Going to F. 2 fingers down. Middle finger's getting ready for the big jump. Spin your wrist. Rotate. Big jump with the ring finger. Ring finger, get ready guys, jump. Middle finger's getting ready to make the jump. There he goes. And now my ring finger makes the jump. There we go. Let's go around one more time. Get ready, 2 guys, to go to the F. Here we go, go.
And remember, I'm doing it the easy way.
Think about it, middle finger. You ready? And now my ring finger is going to big finish. It works. And if you can think about coordinating your right hand when you're doing it. So you notice when I was going from the F, I'm going to hit as soon as my middle finger makes the jump. I'm going to pluck that note with my thumb, so you can tell I did it. Here comes my thumb and my middle finger working together. I don't have tons of right hand suggestions for people because right hand technique, I think it's important that you get used to just pressing strings and doing things with the right hand and listening to how it sounds and then going with what you like. And there are some things you can practice, right? There's obviously technique to practice, but in some ways I feel like it's easier to get the left hand shaped up first and then the right hand will follow.
Cool.
I just made that up. I think it's true though.
Okay. Do you want to show them that double stop thing that you were doing? Okay. So, and when I say double stop, that's a word that guitarists use sometimes when they're specifically playing 2 notes at the same time. And it's based on bowed string technique. Violins and violas and cellos usually only play 1 note at a time. And double stops is specifically when you bow 2 notes at a time, which is a special technique for violins and stuff. But it's kind of an slightly unusual thing for fretted instruments to do too.
So speaking of right hand techniques, here is one. It's not that I don't care about my right hand, I do. So I do a lot of finger picking. And to do this, I use my thumb and my middle finger and my index finger. And I often just assign them each a string. So a lot of the time, my thumb is in charge of strings 3 and 4. And then that leaves my other 2 fingers for the other 2 leftover strings. So in this instance, what I'm going to do is with my right hand, I'm going to think about my middle finger being on string 1 and my thumb being on string 2. So this is a pinching movement. It's not a grab. You try to keep your hands still because you're trying to show off like a classical guitarist, right? So I'm going to pluck these 2 strings, strings 1 and string 3. I'm also tuning a little bit. So I'm trying not to involve these 2 guys. They're going to just sit out for a minute. So just give yourself a minute to practice this. And trying not to hit the other 2 strings as you're going. If you want, if it's easier for you for a little while, you can anchor your pinky on the body of your uke. Like a banjo player sometimes does. Okay, so my goal now is I want these 2 strings to be the same pitch. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my, I'm going to use, what am I going to use? I'm going to use my pinky and my index finger, and I'm going to put my index finger on the 4th fret of my 3rd string and get that note. And then I'm going to put my pinky, I have names for all my fingers, and I will use them. I'm going to put my pinky on the 7th fret of, look at you, you're all the way up on the 7th fret of my 1st string, so I get this. I had this, and now I have this. Doesn't that sound cool? If you want, you can pick your left pen pinky up a little bit. And then you put yourself in some kind of drone state like this. Now I got these 2 strings. They're octave apart. These notes are both E's and they're both involved in the C chord. So if I want to play an F chord next, I'm going to take my left hand in the same exact position. I'm just going to slide it up a fret. And I'm going to go back down 1 fret. This might prove tiring for your little pinky friend, but just hang on with me for a little bit. Here I go back up to F. Now to get to G, I'm going to have to go up 2 frets. So here we go. Look at you all the way up on the 10th fret. Back to F, down 2 frets, and back to your E. Oh, it was you.
Sorry, yeah, it was me.
Okay.
It was definitely me.
Okay, so while Jason plays this sequence, I can play these new notes that you're going to sound like $75,000.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Up 1 fret, up 2 frets, down 2 frets. Same, up 1 fret, 2 frets. 2 frets back down.
You can always change up the rhythms a little bit, like we're doing. G, F, C.
If I get tired, I'll leave a note out, because it's ukulele and it's okay. And I'm officially in a ukulele trance. Your right hand is also good for tapping if it's not doing anything else. Don't let go with your left hand, you get lost.
We're probably going to give it another 5 minutes or so.
When I get fancy, try knocking.
Getting a robocall while we talk here.
Nice.
I just wanted to kind of make a general point
So you take
that.
your left hand and go.
Oh, yeah.
Hard working left hand.
Shake it out. Your left hand will cramp up if you're doing a lot of this. No matter how easy it is, if you keep doing it over and over again, your wrist will cramp up. One of the things that we're always trying to do is find the smoothest possible way to get from, for example, from one chord to the next, to make the movement as easy as possible. But people who are listening to music also like to hear smooth movement, and that's one of the great things about what Sherry's doing here. We're going from a C chord to an F chord. If one of us was playing the bass, we would be going C F C F C F of jumping up from the C note, up 4 steps to the F note. But what Sherry's doing is starting on the E and just moving up 1 fret and then moving up another couple of frets. So making very slight movements so that it's a smooth motion from one note to the next, even though the bass line might be moving. The bass line is skipping, might be skipping a 4th, but the melody that Sherry's playing is just moving a 1/2 step. And so you have skips and steps at the same time. So a variety of different kinds of movement between notes in different instruments. And that's what, it's not conscious, but that's what the ear loves to hear. The ear loves to hear the bass line bouncing up and down like that, and it likes to hear melodies that are moving smoothly at the same time. Brains like that, ears like that. Boy, let's talk for a minute about the E minor chords, because it's almost time to head out. So remember E minor? Just start with your index finger on the 2nd fret of the 1st string, and then just add a finger on each subsequent fret, on each subsequent string, and there you are. Nice diagonal line across the fretboard, E minor. And then the next chord will be open, A minor 7. And then the 3rd chord that you need is the same as the E minor chord, just over 1 string. Same fingers over 1 string. And then you've got your E minor blues, and you can play, for example, the Spider-Man theme song. 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Spider-Man, Spider-Man, does whatever a spider can. Spins a web any size, catches thieves just like flies. Look out, here comes the Spider-Man. I got one more verse. Is he strong? Listen, bud, he's got radioactive blood. Can he swing from a thread? Take a look overhead. Hey there, there goes the Spider-Man. I'm gonna do that verse again. Is he strong? Listen, bud, he's got radioactive blood. Can he swing from a thread? Take a look overhead. Hey there, there goes the Spider-Man. And then you can do that same thing, more or less, that Sherry was doing with the double stop.
Yes. So instead of starting here on the E, on the 4th fret, I'm going to go up to the G, which is the 7th fret, with my index finger, and the 10th fret with my pinky.
So again, I'm playing an E minor chord, and what the note that Sherry's playing is the 3rd note of that chord, or the 3rd of the E minor scale, the middle note of that chord. Sounds great. And then my next chord is an A minor 7.
And I'm going to go up 2 frets.
She's playing the A. 2 A's. And then I go back to E minor.
And I go back down 2 frets.
And she's playing the G in that A minor chord. And then in the last line, I go to B7.
And I'm going to go down a fret.
And that note happens to be F sharp, which is one of the notes in the B flat chord. The B minor, the B7, the B7 chord, B dominant 7. So many words.
So many words.
And then back home to E minor. So here we go, one more time. Spider-Man, Spider-Man, does whatever a spider can. Spins a web any size, catches thieves just like flies. Look out, here comes the Spider-Man.
I didn't say I was going to the A, but I did.
Is he strong? Listen, bud, he's got radioactive blood. Can he swing from a thread? Take a look overhead. Hey there, there goes the Spider-Man.
That's really fun.
Yep. And with those same chords, you can play the theme song in E minor. So we hope to see you soon. Did you have anything else you want to
No,
add?
I mean, there's a million things to say, but
We're going to take a break
I gotta go teach. So
from live streaming next month. And come June, we're going to be on the Carter House porch. So check out the library website. Sign up for that if you can. And we'll love to see you there.
and we're gonna play the theme song again in E minor. And
That's
I'm gonna
right.
do these, right?
Yep.
So I'm doing okay.
Two,
We've never done this before, by the way.
a two, a 1, 2, 3, 4. Wood County District Public Library Ukulele Club. Wood County District Public Library Ukulele Club. Come on along and play your ukes with me. It's the Ukulele Club. One more time. Wood County District Public Library Ukulele Club. It's the Wood County District Public Library Ukulele Club. Now, come on along and play your ukes with me. It's the Ukulele Club.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks. Aloha.